commit this kind of a genocide. So the Sri Lankan government could able to get the support from China, from US, from UK, from Iran, from Israel, and from everybody. So in a way that when India and Pakistan came together to support Sri Lanka, and China and America come together to support Sri Lanka, and Israel and Iran come together to support Sri Lanka. Such is the kind of a case. And this such a brutal war committed against the Elam Tamil people in the name of war on terrorism. And that post 2009, and the international community promised several things, but still the Tamil Elam is being occupied by the Sri Lankan genocidal military force. And there was a resolution in 2015 in the UN calling for an investigation and things like that. And then later that has been converted sophisticatedly that the perpetrators of the crime can investigate their own crimes. Now, the UNHRC commissioner called for a hybrid court, which we are not in favor of it, because the hybrid court can work cannot work in the kind of situation of a nationalistic movement. Nationalistic struggle has been happening. Only when there is a complete change of regime, the establishment of protection of the victims has happened, the hybrid court can work. But still, the UNHRC proposed a hybrid court, and we have asked for international judges to come into the investigation. And Sri Lankan government conveniently convert that international judges into foreign judges. Then India helped them to convert that foreign judges into Commonwealth judges. And now the Sri Lanka promised in the UNHRC, and later now they are rejecting that we cannot include the foreign so-called foreign judges into the panel. Now for every 5 Tamilians in the north and east of Tamilam, there's one singular soldier. And we would like to indicate that 99% of the Sinhalese army military is Sinhalese. There is not even a percentage of Tamilians are there in the Sri Lankan military. What Sri Lankan military or Sri Lankan government, Sri Lankan sports, Sri Lankan economy, Sri Lankan cultural team, all are Sinhalese. All are Sinhalese. So it is a clear indication that it is a racist regime that is conducting a kind of genocidal attack on Tamils, and the international community are refusing to recognize it as a genocide and refusing to constitute an international tribunal on Sri Lanka for crime of genocide and war crimes. So this is the kind of situation, and the Elam Tamil people cannot live together along with a genocidal regime. And we can, an international community, through UN, trying to civilize the Sri Lankan government, which cannot work, which will not work. And the only way to civilize the Sri Lankan racist regime is to carve out a nation for Elam Tamils. And right to self-determination for independence is really an important thing, because the Sri Lanka is a colonial design. It is not a pre-colonial design. And if at all a decolonization need to happen, the Tamil Elam need to be liberated out of Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is a British colonial design. That is the foundation that we've been looking for independence from the Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Well, now we have a very famous activist from South Africa. We just got the opportunity to speak before the Colombian referendum, the changed view, but now time has passed, you have more reflection, maybe we can speak later about that. But right now, I would be pleased to listen to you and to make like a analyze, a synthesis of all that we have here.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm going to just shift a little bit away from what I wanted to speak, because there was something else that cropped up in the past few weeks before I came here. And I think I must say that all of us have grave misgivings about the way the United Nations is disempowered itself through the way things are happening on the geopolitical landscape of the world, the whole planet, with the big powers exercising control over the Security Council and all the other arms generally of the UN. The UN is also doing excellent work when you look at it in terms of its UNESCO, the education programs, and other aid assistance that it gives, which in some ways is also interfered with now and then by governments, but still there is value in the UN. It is the only body that brings all of us together in the world to look at our planet, which is being destroyed through war and also through the damage that's being done to our environment. And at the same time, it also brings us together here. Those who are struggling for liberation, freedom, justice, not for self-determination is not about for yourself to oppress other people. It's about striving for that freedom and justice. So the point I want to make before I go into issues around self-determination and the experience from South Africa and related and surrounding regions is to make an appeal to all our comrades sitting around this table. We come to the United Nations for these sessions, but we come here as different groups from different parts of the world. And I want to make an appeal that before people leave this session, whenever, that we form a coalition of all self-determination groups that are based, that come here. We work very independently, and we share the blood and the sweat and the tears of our comrades from other institutions. But as an activist, I can always say from what I've learned in South Africa, if you don't organize and mobilize, you will still remain weak. And we can only strengthen ourselves when we get together. In South Africa, we had this black fist, which we all know from the history of struggles. It has a meaning. It's always been associated with the left wing and with leftist ideas. But the concept of 5 fingers coming together, being a force, is the meaning that I would like to say that builds solidarity, that builds strength and unity. So if you take just these 5 countries that we're talking about today, the struggle of the Turks, the comrades in Western Sahara, Sri Lanka, in Iran, even in other parts of the world, we come here with our organizations all working with respect for each other but separately. We'll continue to do that, but we should, the leaders of these groups and any others, and I hope Bosco, who runs the coordination for our Tamil Elam people here, is listening, and other comrades, that if you can get together, whether it's tomorrow, next week, and form this coalition, it'll be a message to the United Nations, it'll be a message to the world, that the people who are struggling for self-determination are organizing themselves, whether it'll be at the UN, but through social networks and other media, you'll be able to consolidate what you are doing, what are your programs, how far are you succeeding, what are the challenges, what are your weaknesses, what support can we give each other, and so that we can develop common principles that will ensure that we all understand what do we mean by self-determination, what do we mean by liberation, what do we mean by freedom afterwards, what do we even mean by transitional justice, and how do we build a future constitutional framework for those countries that succeed after self-determination. And also, not to let's hope there will be victories for those fighting for self-determination and liberation, but not to leave the struggle and leave those who are still struggling. They should be there to continue the struggle and be part of this kind of coalition. It may sound very big, it may sound ambitious, but it can be done. I have already spoken to 1 or 2 people, and everyone will agree here that if people go away after the 24th of March, saying that we are now part of an international coalition of groups fighting for self-determination in the world, that is a message that will reach the Secretary General of the United Nations, the head of the Human Rights Council here, and anybody else, especially the governments that are here, that are party to this oppression and denial of rights of people, and any other government agents that want to prevent this. So I only hope that we can go away forming such a body, because it will give strength to everyone else. And the point I make is that any meeting of our groups here, whether it's a side meeting, whether it is a solidarity meeting, you would share that in that program. You will draw them in, even if not all of them are there. You will mention them in your own meetings, and you will say, we're not alone. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G countries that are with us. And that would be the beginning of something that will strengthen the cause of justice and freedom throughout the world and the fight for human rights. So I will stop there because we can develop it. I hope people can invite each other to some other meeting, whether we have it formally or informally, and put a document that can be drawn up, a memorandum of understanding amongst all those who wish to participate and become part of this coalition and group, a solidarity group, and set out basic, not complicated, fundamental principles that everybody can subscribe to and apply in their work, and also share with that form of solidarity. There's so much more that one can talk about there, and I will just stop at that. But I want to just now talk briefly about why is there a struggle for self-determination? And why does it happen? And we know that invariably, not always, it is about oppression and repression by a majority over a minority. And in situations where this oppression can occur through military rule or any type of, we'll say, force that's outside, we'll say, the constitutional formation of a country. Some may not even have a constitution, but they are probably a dysfunctional state.